Kilkenny are back into an All-Ireland final for the first time since 2019 after a strangely comprehensive win over Clare here at Croke Park. Finished up 226 to 20 points, and you come away from the game wondering for Clare what's gone wrong in the last couple of days. They got out of jail against Wexford, but this game, just from the get-go, a really strange performance. But let's get to Kilkenny first. Brilliant performance from them. TJ Reid, as the game on, really began to take over, scored 7 frees, added 3 from play, and just a couple of really tasty scores towards the end of the game. Adrian Mullen was brilliant with 5 points from play. Cian Kenny scored 1-2. He also won 3 frees in the first half, all of which were scored. He set up other chances in the game, really growing into his role where he's kind of named in the forwards, but he's roving out around the field and he's just getting onto the ball throughout. Pádraig Walsh got himself a couple of scores. Owen Cody got 2 and probably could have had more. Billy Ryan had 2, and Martin Keown got the decisive goal in the first half. That kind of gave Kilkenny that wiggle room that you knew there was no real coming back. That made it 117 to 6 points. And I wonder, like, where this came from with Clare. Did all the pats on the back after losing the Munster final to Limerick? In a strange way, did their defeat in the Munster final go to their heads? Did they feel that it was going to happen, that they weren't all that far away, that they just had to put together 1 or 2 missing things and they would kick on to the next level? But they didn't. Losing John Conlon before the game, and he tried to do bits of the warm-up, well, he clearly wasn't right at all, and he actually left the warm-up before the rest of the players were finished doing so. Paddy Fitzpatrick started in his place. It wasn't the right call from Brian Lohan. He replaced him at half time, and I suppose Peter Duggan as well. He's obviously had a great All-Star 2018 season. He looked good a couple of times earlier on in this year against Cork and against Tipperary, 2 teams who obviously later on proved what they're worth this season. And I think other than the Waterford game, when Waterford were truly dreadful and imploded, he's really struggled in the matches since. He struggled against Limerick both days out. Didn't have a great day out against Wexford, and again here, and Hugh Lawler was brilliant on him. He snapped ball over him, turned him over. Peter Duggan had 1 half chance going for a goal towards the end of the first half, got blocked straight up the other end. Well, he then hit the rebound straight up the other end, then Martin Keown scores the goal. But I mean, it's definitely not down to one man. David McInerney popping shots from distance throughout the game. He scored 1. He had at least 4 wides. Diarmuid Ryan was brilliant. The other wing back scored 3 points. David Fitzgerald scored 3, but he had several wides also. Tony Kelly never got into the game. Mikey Butler was all over him like a rash. Really good performance from Butler, and this isn't his first time either. He's doing this throughout the season. Of course, his performance against Cathal-Mannion is the one that stands out the most, but he's really stepped up. He's been a find this year. He's not long back from a cruciate either, which is just really impressive. The guys who did kind of step up for Clare in the second half a little bit were Shane O'Donnell again. He was really good. He scored 4 points from play, and Mark Rogers and Shane Meehan, who came in off the bench. Again, if you're looking for excuses for Clare, they haven't been at Croke Park too often over the last number of seasons. When they came here, since winning the All-Ireland in 2013, they came here in 2018. They had a bit of a no-show in the first 10 minutes, put Colin Galvin sweeper, and they came back and they went all the way to extra time against Galway. But that's their only appearance at Croke Park since winning the All-Ireland in 2013. Only a 5th ever appearance here for Tony Kelly. And he never got into the game, and so few of his other teammates did. And I mean, you just couldn't believe some of the stuff that Clare were doing in the first half. Hitting high long ball on top of Ian Galvin and David Reedy, thinking that they would win it. It just beggared belief. And some of the terrible shots they had, like they converted 6 of 24 scoring opportunities in the first half, compared to Kilkenny, who were doing everything right. A bit like TJ Reid throughout. There was no wastage with anything he was doing. When he got on the ball, he was doing a little fake hand pass to sort of turn and get a handy score towards the end of the game. He was feeding it off to the right man. They were hitting high ball down on top of him because it made sense to do it, and he would either set up a score or score himself. What Clare were doing at the other end, it's anyone's guess. But 18 out of 22 in terms of scoring efficiency for Kilkenny in the first half. And again, their free take was right. That was something that was wrong with Clare, and Tony Kelly had a very tough day on the frees. The aerial prowess of Kilkenny across the board, different lads going up snapping ball as well. Clare just couldn't compete with it. Winning turnover scores. There was a couple of times in the first half where Conor Cleary caught a high ball and then he was turned over and scored straight away for Kilkenny. And there's such huge momentum shift in scores, and really does hurt a team when they concede like that, especially when they're chasing the game and already well behind. And it's huge for a team like Kilkenny because it just gives them that momentum to kick on again. Obviously Clare have had a game since Kilkenny last played. Clare have had that game against Wexford, and it was out a system, that thrilling late comeback. You would have thought there could be a bit more of them in for this game, but really and truly, it just you just wonder where the mentality is. Were they just thinking too far ahead against Limerick? Did they think that they were just a step away from putting together the perfect performance before heading into an All-Ireland final with a great chance, looking to meet Limerick for a fourth time this year? The 3 times they played them, they'd taken them all the way to the end of normal time and been level, obviously losing the Munster final after extra time. But really awful display. But by the same token, Kilkenny were really excellent throughout this game and full value for their win. And as I said, big scoreline here, 226 to 20 points. But 24 wides for Clare. It's just truly shocking. Balls dropped short, locked down, just panicked throughout. And they had a little rash of scores during the second half at a couple of different periods. But they were just so second best throughout. So that's Kilkenny back into an All-Ireland final, and we'll wait to see whether they'll face Galway or Limerick. That other semi-final is yet to come.